2025, Year of the Snake, Decoded, the Tribulation of the Serpent. Welcome back, family. Today we are going to begin a series, the Year of the Snake, Decoded, and this is going to be part 1. This is going to be a breakdown of the War of Enki, the serpent in the garden. And we are going to use this new year of the Chinese calendar, which is a lunar calendar, and we are going to use this to launch this series. Last year we were in the year of the dragon, and I saw that as the rise of China. And as you know, the last 4 years with the Biden administration, we had a unrelenting attack by the Chinese government, and we had lots of intellectual property stolen, and we had the Chinese government developing incredible amount of military weaponry from the stolen intellectual property. And we have a situation where now that we're in the year of the snake, we have a transfer of power from the dragon, which I believe was a representation of China, to this serpent god. And we are going to use this as a launching pad to decode the war of the eagle and the serpent. Now, I just uploaded a video. Let's go there really quick. I'm going to point out something that I want you to go watch. I just uploaded this to my community post. I don't want to get any strikes, so I'm asking everybody to go to my community post and watch this Eagle and Serpent, Enlil and Enki by Two Old Dudes production. This will help as a launch pad for this series. There's some information here that he's missing, so I'm going to fill in the gaps as we go, but this is a great place to start in your understanding of the hidden war, or what we call the occult. The things that are hidden, or what they call occult, that's the name of that word. Occult means hidden. It's not necessarily a evil word. It means hidden. And the power lords use this as a way to control the masses. And we are going to open the curtain so that you can see the Wizard of Oz. And we will use this video here as a launching pad for that. Today, what we're going to be looking at is the representation, not only in the Mazzaroth, but also in predictive programming, and in a couple other things that allow us to see through the veil. And this ongoing series is going to tear down the walls of deception, and we are going to reveal many things that have been hidden, especially from what we call the Roman beast church. And if you are open-minded and willing to be tested and challenged, I am here to bring you a message of discovery and enlightenment, and these things, as I've said, have been hidden from the humans of Earth for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it is discussed in the Bible. Christ many, many times in coded language was trying to let us know about this war in the heavens for control over this planet. And this place, as our master said, is not his kingdom. And so we are going to show you how this kingdom is ruled by the fallen. And the fallen have used religion and doctrines of demons to control humanity for a millennium, really. And we're going to show you how that is undeniable. And if you will give me the time to prove out a matter, I believe that I have all of the tools necessary to present this to you. And we're going to begin this study with stellarium, and we're going to incorporate our stellarium signs over the next 2 days. Today is January the 30th, 2025, and we see Asteroid Alexis rods at 10:34 a.m. We just passed this alignment. This is Alexis rods exiting the hoopah of Ophiuchus. And this alignment with Ophiuchus is a sign for Michael, because this alignment is an Ophiuchus alignment. We are looking at this as the battle of the Serpent and the Archangel Michael. And we're getting messages in the heavens. If you have not seen my latest video that I released, Michael Stands Up, please go and watch that video before you begin this series. It's going to be important to understand the things that I've found in the Mazzaroth that are associated with this Michael Ophiuchus sign. And Ophiuchus can also be seen as Christ ultimately, who wins the war over the serpent. But Ophiuchus is a representation of the Archangel Michael, who casts the devil, the serpent, down. And so we're seeing Alexis rods exiting what we call the hoopah, which is between the legs of Ophiuchus, is what we call the marriage chamber. And the entry of the wandering stars and the sun and the moon, as soon as they pass the claw of Scorpio, then they enter into the hoopah of Ophiuchus, and you can see the body of Ophiuchus looks like a tent, and it is a match for the ancient Israelite hoopah, which is where the marriage ceremony took place. And so we're seeing that this Ophiuchus is a multiple dimensional sign. It is a representation of the battle of Michael and the serpent, but it's also the house of marriage. And so we can see on the right, at the foot of Virgo, we still see Vesta, which is the virgins, And so we are still getting our wedding signs through these signs of the battle of the dragon, and now we're transitioning into the tribulation of the serpent. And we're going to be breaking this down and how all of these things are tied to this year of the snake. And if you remember the I Pet Goat 2 scene of the fireworks and all of the scenes that were associated with the fireworks, I believe that that is the Chinese New Year, and that just began yesterday. And based on if you've watched that video and you've seen some breakdowns, there are some serious events that are about to transpire, and this is going to be a warning video series about the things that are going to quickly transpire, especially here in America. And so the first thing we're going to go do is we're going to be looking at these codes. Here we are on Asteroid, Alexis rods, and we are exiting the Hoopa of Ophiuchus on January the 30th. Asteroid, Alexis rods equals Decode Christ Rapture Day, Master of the Final Secret. Written in the stars, it is Mazzaroth. I be covered by grace of God, love endures all things. I am saved by faith alone, man of lawlessness, the righteous judge. Walk the humble path, Christ resurrection, resurrection power, God, dark night prediction. Now we're going to stop there for a second. Family, we're getting some codes that are associated with some things that I believe are about to happen in our country. And when I see codes like this that are unmistakable, I have to point it out. So I want you to pay attention as we go through these codes. God, dark night prediction, fall of the United States, Babylon fallen, serpents 444, decode Super Bowl. Now, after we get done with these codes, I'm going to show you some things that are super heavy duty, and I want you all to pray about these things because I believe we're on the doorstep of these things happening. So, decode Super Bowl. Her throne is set in heaven, restoration and reward. So within this, we are seeing how the rapture and the final secret are written in the stars. It's in the Mazzaroth. And we're also getting information about the resurrection. And we're also being pointed to a prediction of the fall of the United States and its involvement with the Super Bowl. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go here to the Dark Knight Rises. And just for I don't want to get any community strikes, I'm here on the Dark Knight Rises. Bane destroys Gotham plus the Stadium Anthem. This is on the Dawn channel, and I'm just going to show a couple frame grabs. I'm sure you've all seen this movie, But there's some things that we want to point out here. First, in this movie, if you remember, they're pointing out a Super Bowl. And we have the Super Bowl coming up on February the 9th. And having knowledge of how code works, 2-9 is a 911 code, because 2 can be broken down into 1 plus 1, and it can be seen backwards as 911. And this could be our next 911 event that is associated with iPet Goat 2. If you remember, the iPet Goat video is about the destruction of the 2 towers, and it is a prediction of part 2 of the attack on America. And I believe that this is predictive programming, and we're looking at an event, and we see here, if you've watched the movie, then you know that Bane is a representation of President Donald Trump. And we hear Bane's words about turning the government back over to the people, just as Donald Trump has said. And we are seeing how these things are all associated with this possible attack on our country during a Super Bowl event. We see here that the attack begins, and as soon as the kickoff happens, there is an explosion, and if you remember, he catches the ball, and the explosion is happening, and as he's running down the field, you can see how the entire area of New York is being bombed, or has some kind of there's something happening. And family, we know that we have seen drones all over the place doing things that they are calling inspection, or that the drones are hunting for something. Could this be the possibility of them looking for traces of nuclear material because they have inside information about a possible attack on our country? I'm just putting this out as a warning. I'm not saying that it's going to happen during this Super Bowl. I'm saying that we are looking at predictive programming here. This is the field of the football game, and it is collapsing from the explosions, and we see how that the entire stadium essentially becomes destroyed, and as he finishes and turns around, you can see that the entire underneath of the stadium has been blown to pieces, and this is not necessarily how it's going to happen, but these things are all predictive programming, and so we want to also point out that the bridges are all destroyed in this video, as if Manhattan is being cut off, and that there is some kind of control of the city. And as you know, this is where the UN and all of the international control systems come from. And so there is a high possibility of some kind of attack coming on our country. And there's a couple other things I want to point out with this Dark Knight Rises. One of the things that I noticed that's very important that I learned is here it says the film set 8 years after the events of the Dark Knight follows a retired Wayne being forced to resume his role as Batman to save Gotham City from nuclear destruction at the hands of the terrorist Bane. Now, I want you to pay attention to the 8 years. I believe these videos are predictive programming for Bane equaling President Trump and Batman representing President Obama, because it was 8 years ago that he left office, and we have a code that could be a predictive programming code. If you remember, Obama said the thing that he was most afraid of is a possible nuclear bomb going off in Manhattan. This can all be predictive programming, and this is all happening at the time of the rise of the Serpent, and we can see this as the tribulation of the Serpent. And we're going to use this video to present the signs that I found in the heavens that we can associate with the signs of the Serpent and the war in heaven of the eagle and the serpent. So as we saw, we have the alignment of Alexis rods with the Hoopa. That happens today at 10:34. And then our next sign, and you can't, again, family, you just cannot make these things up. This is Pallas aligning with Aquila the eagle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get this alignment up. This, I believe, happens. Let's get this up on alignment. Okay, fam. Let's make sure we're right on. That looks like it about right there. Okay, so we are looking at Pallas aligning with the wing of the eagle. Now, we know that the eagle and the serpent are always shown to us in imagery of all kinds of religions, and they use it in virtually everything. And as you'll see in that video, the eagle and the serpent, this is shown to us on the emblem of the presidential seal. It's shown to us for every nation state They use this eagle, and in a lot of the cases, they use the eagle and the serpent. And we're looking at Asteroid Pallas aligned with the wing of the eagle. We're getting a sign of flight. And it was very important to me because knowing that Aquila representing the eagle being right next to the Ophiuchus house or constellation, this was very, very important in this storyline of the tribulation of the serpent. We also have to continue to watch for the escape of the bride through all of these signs. And when I saw this Pallas alignment, it is a representation of the flight of the bride. So we're going to quickly go look at the codes for Pallas. Asteroid Pallas equals Hadassah. So remember, we're still watching the signs for Esther. And the next code is Hanukkah greeting. Family, you can't make these things up. We are just out of Hanukkah, and now we're watching because the temple has been dedicated, and those that have gone through the dedication are rapture ready. This is a Magdalene confirmation, a Bible revelation. God's grace on earth, King of the Jews, the Son is coming, the lost sheep, messenger of God, snow on the beach. If you're in Florida, you know how long it's been. Wrath of the Lamb, expose Barack Obama, Illuminati agenda, lake of fire, serpent gods, agents of Satan, dragon spacecraft, giants on earth. Family, you can't make these things up. As I've said many times, these codes are helping us to look a little deeper into the storyline, and we're seeing some very, very important language being spoken to us about the things that are coming, and these signs are heavenly language of what is to come on the earth. We normally see the signs before the event happens. You don't, when you're driving down the road, you don't get the sign for the turnoff after or right at the turnoff, or you possibly would miss it. You normally get a warning right before the turn, and that way it gives you enough time to prepare. So here we are looking at Asteroid Pallas aligning with the enemy of the serpent, and it is lining up with the wing, and so we're getting a message of flight. And we know from the codes that this is pointing to Hadassah, which is Esther, and it's pointing to the storyline of Esther with Hanukkah. And we also have Purim associated with the Esther signs. And so between Hanukkah and Purim is the story of Esther being revealed. And so we have the sign of the flight of Esther in this Pallas alignment here. So the next thing we're going to go do is we're going to Capricorn, and we're going to be looking at a very important alignment, and this is happening right after the palace alignment. We're looking at Comet 249P linear inside of the temple of Capricorn, and we're in the temple with the bridegroom, and just outside the door is the messenger. And so we're going to be looking at this alignment, and I want you to see how this alignment begins on meridian on the 31st, just after midnight. And now what we're going to do is we're going to watch this comet line up with the temple exit, and we can see how comet 249P linear is pointing to the goat temple. And as you can see here in this image, we have the sun, and that is a representation of the bridegroom. We have Mercury as the messenger, and this is a representation of the final signs of the bride in the last part of the marriage. And we're looking at the bridegroom. Let's dig into this really quick. I'm going to show you this sign. We see here that the sun at this time is about to make its transition out of the chamber, family. Now, coming tomorrow is my video, Stargate, the seventh sign, Decoded. And I'm going to be digging into the sign of the sun lining up with the very top of this Capricorn temple. And I'm going to be explaining how all of this works in the Mazzaroth. But for today, I want to point out that the sun right here on the 31st is about to exit the temple, and Mercury is about to enter, and we just showed you the comet about to exit, and we have Asteroid Apophis is directly lined up with the sun right before it makes its exit. This is the attack of the Serpent Apophis. And we're going to be coming back, and we're going to be doing Apophis Strikes Part 3 on the 3rd. If we're still here, we are going to be breaking down all of the signs of the attack of the Serpent Apophis on the sun, the bridegroom, and the resurrection chamber. And if we're still here, family, it's going to be a doozy. This is going to be an incredible breakdown of the signs that we're receiving in the heavens, of the battle in the sun, moon, and stars that is happening right now. If we would just look up, we would be able to see that there is a war in heaven. So that video is coming tomorrow. I probably won't be able to release it until the later part of the day, because there's so many things I have to prepare for the video. It takes me normally hours and hours to prepare for each video, to make sure I have all of the artwork done and all of the uh, links that I need to have open, and the codes, etc. It's a lot of work, fam, and so I might not be able to release it until the end of the day. But we're going to be looking at how all of these things are connected. Even though these are different video series, they're all connected with the signs that we're watching in the Mazzaroth. So we have this exit of the temple of 249P. That's happening at approximately 8:19 a.m. And our next sign is Mercury entering into the temple. And we're going to be watching Mercury. Now remember, in this storyline, we are looking at Mercury as Gabriel, the messaging angel, and Mercury also is a representation of the witness. You can also consider this one of the groomsmen. We can see this as the messenger is always the closest to the king. Needs to rapidly send out a message, and Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. It's also an 88 sign because Mercury has an 88-day orbit, and we are looking at the signs of Mercury entering the temple. Now again, we know that Apophis is there. Now we have Comet Linear, and we also still have Ceres in the house. Now Ceres is the goddess of marriage, and we can see Ceres as the judge of the marriage. And all of these signs that are happening in the Mazzaroth are pointing us to the marriage still. And even though the moon has left the chamber, the sun is still inside of the chamber. So go read Joel 2:16. We cannot have an escape of the bride without both the sun and the moon exiting their chambers. And so we see here the sun is just about to exit his chamber, and the messenger is about to enter the chamber. And I wanted to point out a couple of very important things. Let's go ahead and dig into this Mercury sign. Okay, so here we are looking at Mercury at the alignment of the entrance of the temple. So I want you to pay attention to something that I noticed that's really, really important to me. When you look at the magnitude and the phase of Mercury, and let's go ahead and pull back, and we're going to be looking at the magnitude and the phase, and we'll just go ahead and get it up on the hour. And now we're going to go ahead and move through. And I want to show you something that I noticed. Okay, right here, fam, we're looking at Mercury inside of the temple. And over to the left, we're looking at the magnitude now is 0.88. Again, we have Mercury as a representation of the 8-8. And we have its phase now at 99%, and 99 equals rapture. So I believe this is a escape of the bride sign. And again, we are going to come back tomorrow and we're going to point out the signs of the sun and the Capricorn temple in our video coming up, Stargate Decoded. So we're looking at Mercury as a representation of the 88 and the 99. And as I've said before, Mercury can be looked at as Hermes, which is a representation of Enoch. So we have Enoch entering into the temple. And if you know anything about the ancient Egyptian historical evidence of Thoth, who was the builder of the Great Pyramid, and Thoth is equal to Hermes, and Hermes is equal to Enoch. And I believe that the Pyramid of Giza is an encoded message to all of humanity, because it is encoded with 365, and that is the code that we get with Enoch's age. And I'm not sure that he only lived 365 days. The Bible is an encoded book. It's not meant to always be looked at literally. These are encoded messages. So Enoch may have lived longer, but the code for Enoch is 365. And here we have Enoch entering into the Capricorn temple. And we have the 88 magnitude and the 99% phase. And this was very, very powerful for me because of the things that I've been watching in the Mazzaroth associated with this escape of the bride and the marriage and this birthing. We're about to be birthed, and these signs are unmistakable, and we are now going to transition to our last sign, and this is Asteroid Enki. Okay, family, you cannot make these things up. This is heavy duty star language. We were just trying to point out that the serpent is Enki, and we have a representation here of Asteroid Enki, and we're about to look at the occultation of Enki. And if you look right next to Enki, we see Psyche, and Psyche is the soul. So we can see that we have the moon right here about to occult Enki. The bride about to cover the serpent. And right above that is Saturn. And we see right next to that is the soul. And Enki is a lunar deity. And we're looking at the occultation of Enki. Tomorrow, the 31st, we can see that this is happening in the constellation of Aquarius. That means there is a possibility of judgment being poured out. And this is all associated with the Serpent family. You can't make any of these things up. It is all in there. The next thing we're going to go do is go back to something that I forgot to do in the last video, and it's also still in play. We have Asteroid Herculina. Let's go over the codes. The storm is here. Foolish virgins, day of reckoning, total collapse of America, cyber attack, southern border, cashless society, break the matrix code, mark of beast, hitting code, causes desolation, concentration camps, black plague is next, descent into pits, sent tsunami, heliosphere impact, magnetic pole shift, decode, he came in a cloud, released from prison. Okay, fam, let's go look at this. I almost missed it, and we want to make sure we get this because this is another associated sign, and we're looking at Asteroid Herculina making the alignment with the wing of Sagittarius. So here we are looking on the 30th. We see another sign. Remember, we just looked at the flight of the eagle. Now we're looking at Herculina being on the wing of Sagittarius. And this is happening on the 30th, family. I wanted to bring these codes out. And I forgot in the last video what the signs that we were seeing on the wing of Sagittarius. And we know that we can see that the eagle and the serpent are directly above the constellation of Sagittarius. So we're looking at the battle here and the division of heaven and the underworld, all in the great rift signs. The eagle, the Michael serpent sign, the white horse rider, and the scorpion of death. And the scorpion can also be looked at as a serpent sign. A dragon and a serpent together. So we're looking at the transition of the year of the dragon into the year of the snake. And we could be seeing a war, and we're looking at a war happening on Earth Here in America, I see that as a war between the House of Obama and the House of Trump. And we're looking at a battle within our own government. We're looking at a battle happening on the planet. And we're looking at the tribulation of the serpent. We'll be back soon, fam. Make sure you see that video. It's very important to understand what's really going on.